Okay, we are live, but we got to let it breathe just for a moment while we bring on our Facebook peeps and make sure we got all of MHH under one roof and we're good. Welcome in, everybody, to the Huddle Up podcast presented, as always, by Mile High Huddle. I'm your host, Chad Jensen, and with me, as always, my partner in crime. You know him, you love him, my fellow football priest, and the deputy editor of MileHighHuddle.com. He is Zack Kelberman. Zach, it's not exactly Bronco related, although tangentially it is connected, right? Anytime the QB market shifts or a player gets taken off the board, indirectly with where the Broncos are at right now, it affects the Denver Broncos. And right before we went live, within an hour, I should say, the news broke that the Dallas Cowboys finally kowtowed and showed Dak the money. So drop some knowledge on our audience for those who might have missed the tweets, might have missed the news, and what kind of money this dude just got.
Well, first of all, this came out of absolutely nowhere because the franchise tag deadline is tomorrow, and by all accounts and all reports, the Cowboys were prepared to tag him and then focus on working toward a long-term extension by July 15th. But out of nowhere, he landed a 4-year contract worth up to $164 million. It's 160 on its face, so $40 million per year, second highest paid quarterback in the NFL, past Deshaun Watson, below Patrick Mahomes. And not just that, an NFL record, $126 million in guarantees and a $66 million signing bonus. Chad, he will earn $75 million in year one. That's the biggest payout in NFL history for any player. And I will say this, the Cowboys did not do themselves any favors. They handled this very poorly. They could have saved themselves a lot of money. But in terms of Dak, I am so happy that he finally got his contract. I am so happy he was taken care of. We talk about the Simmonses and the Shelby Harrises of the world, but Dak Prescott is the most undervalued franchise quarterback in the NFL. He is the lifeblood of that team, and he is a hell of a passer. And I'm happy that he got his just desserts after his brother's, I believe it was a suicide. That hasn't come out yet. After his injury last year, and the Cowboys, I'm just so happy for the adversity he's gone through, a former fourth-round pick who the Broncos could have had back in 2016, and they took Paxton Lynch instead. A lot of money, Chad, but that's the market value. That's the going rate for a franchise quarterback, and I'm happy that he got his just desserts.
Yeah, dude, he, Dak, I like that coming out, don't get me wrong, but when he started approaching the window to get paid, I had my doubts. I was a little bit of a skeptic. I mean, not like I wasn't a doubter or a hater, but like I had some misgivings. Let me just put it that way. Where, they had that phenomenal 16 was it his rookie year that they had? Mm-hmm. They went to the divisional round.
Yep. Yeah,
because it was 2017 week 2 when the Broncos spanked him, and they were the big juggernaut, and it was a big surprise. And so then he, never could quite, haven't really been able to get back to that point, even though he's put up some numbers, he's put up some volume. But you saw last year for the Dallas Cowboys, the true monetary value of Dak Prescott and it was a aha moment. It was an epiphany by virtue of his absence, right? What wouldn't you pay to have a healthy Dak Prescott under center if you're Jerry Jones? Because the alternative, irrelevancy. I mean, tip your cap to the Red Rifle, tip your cap to the, best laid plans of that young offensive coordinator. What's his name, dude? Boise State. Kellen Moore. It just wasn't enough to get him over the hump, but you put Dak Prescott in that same scenario, and maybe that version of the Cowboys doesn't, might not even go deep into the playoffs, but they probably handily win the NFC East. So that's what it's worth. But yeah, what a slobber knocker, $75 million in year one. Zach, answer this question for Jason O'Neill real quick. He says, is Dak really worth $40 million a year? He definitely makes Dallas better, but wowzer.
It's the going rate for a franchise quarterback. And I see a comment on the side here that he has doesn't have any rings. John says here, just going to be paid that much, no rings. Deshaun Watson makes $39 a year. He's 1-2 in the playoffs. He doesn't have rings either or playoff success. It is just the market value for a franchise quarterback. And the next quarterback to sign a deal, no matter who it is going to pass that number too. It's just, it goes and goes and goes. 2 years from now, $40 million will seem like what 25 was a couple years ago. That's just how it works in the NFL. And people forget, Chad, before he went down, Dak Prescott last year, going into week 5, he was on pace to shatter the NFL single season passing record. I mean, by 1,000 yards or so. That offense was humming. He was the number 2 overall quarterback in scoring in the entire NFL. He really is the most disrespected, undervalued franchise guy. And I think this year, comeback player of the year, I think is a given for him. I think the Broncos, the Cowboys will go back to the playoffs. I think they'll have a nice season. And Dak is going to earn that deal, unlike other quarterbacks who I believe have not.
He can laugh as far as the haters all the way to the bank, right? My dude just got paid, and, tip your cap to him because 4th round pick. I mean, this was a guy that in retrospect obviously should have been a 1st round pick, just like Russell Wilson. I mean, even Nick Foles back in the day in 2012 should have been a 1st round pick. But in the case of Dak Prescott, you're happy for him. And, he's been through a lot. You talk about his brother, you talk about his injury and just all the doubts. And I mean, he was making peanuts relative to what his value was in the NFL. Now, last year notwithstanding because of the franchise tag. But here's an interesting comment here, Zach. It's good to know that our podcast is such an event that if you're faded all day long, you got to sober up in order to be ready for the podcast. Tip the cap to Robert, dude. Water, Advil, my dog.
Yeah, Gatorade and Pedialyte. It'll be your best friends.
We got a lot to get to tonight, guys, on the Broncos front. Von Miller in the building today. What does it mean? What are we hearing? What's the buzz? I mean, as a guy, Zach, who is hyper aware of optics at all time, likes to use social media as a passive aggressive tool to communicate with his fans and with the front office. We're going to talk about what today means. We're going to get to all that here in just a moment. But first, we got to tip our cap to the presenting sponsor of this evening's live stream podcast, the one and only Manscaped. Gang, we hope that by now you have fully, and I'm talking to the dudes here, all right, fully embrace the new year, new me mindset. You got St. Patrick's Day coming up here in the near future. A lot of you are going to have spring break. It's going to be warming up. Things are going to start happening, and you got to make sure that your male grooming is on point, and there is nobody, Zach, better to help you do that. Embrace that new year, new me mindset than Manscaped.
That's right. I mean, no matter what, around the country, things are opening up depending on where you live. But even if they aren't, even if you guys are stuck on lockdown, if you're distancing and keeping to yourselves, you want to look good when you look in the mirror. You want to feel good when you look in the mirror. And Manscaped, it's not BS, guys. We're not just spoon feeding you this. We use these products religiously almost every single day, and we can attest to them helping our personal confidence, our personal hygiene, feeling better and looking better. And I'm going to say this again. I talk about it all the time. The weed whacker for your nose hair and your ear hair. I have yet to charge this, and I use this more often than I want to admit. Still on right now. Great ergonomic grip. It doesn't pull. There's no muss. There's no fuss. There's no pain. No, I know it's not the most flattering subject talking about nose hair or below the belt hair or back hair, but you want to get rid of it and trim up and look better and feel better. I swear to you guys, manscaped.com is the way to go.
And so many different tools, so many different little assets and accoutrements to help you take your game to another level. And I mean, the tools for trimming, great, and they are next level. But everything from the crop mop, all right, which I don't want to be too gross here. We got ladies in the audience, but I used this today when I went to the gym. You don't always have time to shower, and you don't always want to shower at the gym. You ever seen some of these gym showers? My dog, you don't want to get planter's warts taking a shower at a gym. So you use the crop mop and you circle back and you handle your business when you get home. You feel me? And then you got things like the Reviver, all right, the crop Reviver, just so many different things to help. And freaking cologne, dude, next level. Couple different options on the cologne. So many different things to help you get on point with your male grooming. Head on over to manscaped.com, and if you use the code HUDDLE, you're going to get 20% off plus free shipping. Your boys down south, they're gonna send you a little letter in the mail. They're gonna say, "Hey, thank you, my dog, for taking care of business."
First class mail too. But guys, get 20% off and free shipping with the code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code HUDDLE. And real quick, Chad, I don't know about you, but my gym, I tend to avoid the showers because there's older occupants of that locker room that tend to be a little free and a little, uncaring about what they're wearing or not wearing. So I'd rather just stay home and shower in my own shower.
Definitely. All right. Shout out to Manscaped. Appreciate you. Seriously, I mean, at 41, Manscaped has been, might be a little too hyperbolic to say life-changing for me, but it's been an eye-opener, some of the options out there. So
Life enhancing is a better.
Yes. Guys, make sure you are following the podcast on Twitter. The main account is at Mile High Huddle. The podcast account is, of course, at Huddle Up Pod. This is another question you got to ask yourself. Have you liked and followed? Here's the Twitter account on Twitter for the podcast. Have you liked and followed the podcast page on Facebook? If not, open up Facebook. You've got the app on your phone. Search Huddle Up Podcast. Give it a like, give it a follow, because that enters you into the drawing that we're going to be doing weekly until we decide to stop doing it. For now, we're just going to do it weekly. We'll announce this week's winner on Wednesday. Randomly selected person who both follows and likes the page. You can get a hat, you can get a t-shirt, you get a little something. So head on over there. I'll put the link later in the chat stream. Click that, like, follow, appreciate you. Also, guys, have you become a supporter yet of Mile High Huddle officially on Facebook? Because if you haven't, you're missing out not only on Kelberman's Corner, which episode 9 just dropped on Sunday. Yesterday was phenomenal. Episode 10 coming this Sunday. Plus, we're rolling out new content. This week on Saturday at noon Mountain Time, we debut the Trickle Zone. All right, we're going to start promoting this as we get a little closer through the week. But guys, if you're not a supporter, you're not getting access to that deep dive scouting insight on the prospects. It's going to be, I don't want to give away too much right now on what the Trickle Zone is going to be, but Eric and I had our final meeting on it today. And just suffice to say, if you're a draft guy, if you're an X's and O's guy, you're going to want this content. And if you aren't a supporter on Facebook, you're going to miss out. It's $4.99 a month. Click that blue button on our Mile High Huddle page. You're in like Flynn. Plus, of course, you can't duplicate it. All right. Kelberman's Corner. Hot takes that hold water, different flavor than what we do here on these live streams. Check out the merch store, huddleupod.com. Get your swag on, get a hat, get a t-shirt. Another way to support what we're doing here. We appreciate and love each and every one of you that have patronized that store. I mean, it exists, Zach, because of their popular demand. They are our great community and audience. Like they freaking grinded us down to a nub until we just had to give it our attention and get that merch store up. And you're the one that you were the brainchild and put in the sweat equity to get that thing going. But dude, did you expect to see the level of support that page got, or that site got, that we saw in 2020?
I don't mean to out anyone, but even I believe it was last night or this morning we had a new order. It was from our Super Chat superstar Drew. He ordered the hat I'm wearing now, so it's still getting patronized. People are still checking it out, and we did it for you guys. We did it because we heard the calls, we heard the need for it, and we're so happy and so appreciative that you've perused it how you have so far.
Guys, if you're not in a position to become a supporter, if you're not in a position to become a Super Chat superstar or buy a hat or something, it's all good. We're seriously just stoked to have you with us in these live streams. I mean, we look forward to this each and every day. We do ask that you do these 3 things, though. It's within the power of every one of you with us live or listening after the fact. Number 1, subscribe. Pretty obvious, especially on YouTube, especially if you're listening after the fact, whether it's Apple Pods, Spotify, iHeart, subscribe. Number 2, like this video right now while you're with us. We got several hundred people in the room right now, combined from YouTube to Twitter to Facebook to Twitch. Just give it a like, all right? We might not always agree, but like this video if you respect the effort. And 3, share it out there. That's the litmus test for us. If we're doing a good job for you, share this video out there. Help us at Mile High Huddle continue to grow and reach new like-minded Broncos fans just like you. And when I say continue to grow, it's almost like, the rich get richer, because our site, biggest Denver Broncos website on the planet. We had over 2 million Broncos fans read milehighhuddle.com just in the month of February. So we love and appreciate each and every one of you, but we know it can get even bigger and better. So help us continue to grow, and we appreciate you. All right, Zach, we got a couple. We'll get to Vaughn, but real quick, we got Levi, who's been waiting patiently, one of our great superstars. We're going to have him on the show here in the very, very near future. We're looking forward to that, my friend. And he says, what's up, fellas? Always great stuff. Appreciate you, Levi.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Let me see here. Now, by the way, John is off tonight, Buona Beast. He had some things to take care of on the home front, and so he's off tonight. We might be a little bit behind the 8 ball on some of the super chats, but don't worry. We're going to get to everyone. That never changes, all right? That never changes. One more, and then we'll dive into Vaughn. This comes from one of our great superstars who stormed onto the scene last year, and then she kind of faded out for a little bit. I'm sure life, things happen in life, jobs, family, the whole nine, relationships. But she has stormed back, Zach, with an absolute vengeance, and it's Michaela. Michaela,
wow.
That
Thank
level
you.
of generosity, a $50 super chat to us, I mean, it literally blows our mind. We're so grateful and so appreciative, and it really does mean the world to us. So thank you so much, my friend. And she says, way to go, Dak. I can't believe we chose Paxton Lynch over him. Who did the Broncos scouting? LOL. You know what's ironic? Real quick, Zach. The Cowboys, left to their own devices, would have chosen Lynch over Dak Prescott as well.
Yeah, Jerry Jones had an affinity for him, and thank God for him that that affinity wore off before it was time to go on the clock. That was, the pre-2018 John Elway drafter, and he wasn't a great drafter pre-2018, and that pick exemplified that. I mean, he's made a lot of crappy ones, but far and away, Paxton Lynch was the biggest, disaster on his resume. But fortunately, or hopefully, he's improved, and we'll see what happens with the next quarterback that he picked, and that's Mr. Drew Lock.
Again, thank you so much, Michaela. Seriously.
Yes, thank you.
Respect. Dave, love the hashtags, dog. Keep them coming. Locked in, let them hate.
Let them hate,
Amen,
baby.
My brother. All right, real quick. Now, I know we got a few other supers that just popped in, but just bear with us for a second because we got to get to the main topic today that Broncos country has been champing at the bit to tackle, and that is Von Miller. And he decided to show up in the flesh to Broncos HQ today at UCHealth Training Center. Let me just close a couple of these so we can get straight to the content here. All right. Von Miller shows up at UCHealth Training Center for an in-person visit. Here's the report from Mike Kliss. All right. Quote, Von Miller is at Broncos headquarters per a player source. He is saying hello to teammates, coaches, and personnel staff, including Zach, GM George Payton. Now, as I mentioned just a moment ago, Von Miller, he might not be a savant, so to speak, when it comes to, social media or whatever, but he's very cognizant of the power and his ability to use it as a tool, right? And especially we've seen it back in 2016 in the immediate aftermath of Super Bowl 50 during those negotiations with John Elway on that mega contract that ultimately made Von Miller the highest paid defensive player in NFL history at the time. He used his Instagram, he used Twitter as a means to exert external pressure through the fan base on John Elway, on that whole negotiation process. And so he's aware of optics, guys. I mean, this is like Von Miller doesn't show up at the building knowing that it's going to leak out, right? He doesn't show up to that building unless he has a reason to. And without even the hope or possibility of either some sort of an extension or some kind of an accord, or even just the Broncos saying to him, hey, we're going to pick up your option this year. Von Miller doesn't walk through that door, in my opinion. Now, that's not me reporting something. That's me speculating. I think, Zach, this is a harbinger of something very positive for Broncos country to come in the very near future. And when I say near future, Zach, we're a week away from free agency.
Yeah, and you know what? All we can do right now is speculate because there's nothing else to go on. I'm wondering if the Broncos told Von to stay out of the building until his criminal investigation was complete. Because when I saw this tweet, it struck me like man goes to work, news at 11. Is it any out of the ordinary that Von Miller is showing up to Dove Valley? Or was this the first time, and it's March 8th, that he's in Dove Valley? And for what purpose, we do not know, as you wrote right there. But it has to be a sign that they're at least beginning negotiations, continuing negotiations, maybe even wrapping up negotiations. I tend to think, and it has to be, if it's not innocuous, him just showing up there, weightlifting, whatever, doing film study, that he's there to meet with George Payton, maybe John Elway, the front office, Rich Hurtado, to see what they can do about his contract, because this is a situation, like you said, going into the signing period next week now, things are ramping up, things are getting going. The Broncos want to know where they stand with their edge rusher and where they stand with the salary cap.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We can't say for sure, this, and again, guys, don't mistake what I said a minute ago, what Zach's saying and what I'm about to tell you now as us reporting something as fact. All right. This is just my read on it. This is my speculation on just interpreting the signs, reading the stars, if you will. Von Miller going there to talk to George Payton, even if it's just walking by his office and tipping his cap. Hey, George, Von Miller, nice to meet you in person. Catch you later. That's a sign of, even if George Payton hadn't maybe arranged, Zach, for Vaughn to come to the facility today, if it was just purely based from Vaughn saying, hey, I want to show up, it's a sign that he's showing up because he wants to stay in Denver. All right. And if he wants to stay, that's a big positive box that would have to be checked, right, for George Payton to be able to actually get that negotiated. Because as he said last week, we want to keep Vaughn here. We want Vaughn to stay, all that stuff. But we've also heard through the reporting of guys like Mike Kliss, the team's, and I don't say this as any kind of, barb, but literally the Denver Broncos mouthpiece is Mike Kliss. When they want information to leak, they go to Mike Kliss, all right? When the guys like Mike Kliss, Zach, are reporting for the last 2 months that George Payton does want Vaughn back, but not at $17.5 million, I mean, I think we can, at this point, infer that that's probably what George Payton actually believes.
Well, we know this isn't a Deshaun Watson situation where he's ignoring their calls and completely putting them on radio silence. Von Miller's at least having some sort of contact with the Broncos front office, and he could have let his agent handle that, Chad. He could have been super out of the loop, but I have to interpret him being in the building and for Kliss to tweet about that. Again, a fairly innocuous thing, a football player showing up to his team facility. It has to be a prelude to either ongoing negotiations or negotiations that just started. Hopefully, though, it transpires and Vaughn remaining in Denver for this year and beyond.
Amen. All right, let me, by the way, Ian, appreciate the stars, my friend. We're going to get to those here. And in just a minute, we're going to give you some direct love. Appreciate it. Yeah, apparently very fond of Kelberman's Corner episode 9. It was a good show.
Thank you,
yes,
Ian.
Milkman, on Twitter, we have kind of stepped up our, perhaps we have been subconsciously influenced by Manscaped to step our game up, right? Elevate it. But yeah, we've been working with a new guy that's helping us to design some new merch for all of you, and also just kind of get our graphics and our logos and just our brand more on point and kind of up to date. And so we're glad to hear that you like the new layout. It's good to hear.
I like it too, for what it's worth.
Definitely nice and clean.
Yep.
And look, let's see here. Bear with me one sec, guys. We don't have Johnny Baby, the Buona Beast. He's a teddy bear. He'll rip your face off, though. Do not cross this dude, okay? Stand by one sec. I'm almost there. Oh, there it is. Man, lots of action in the chat today.
What did we ever do before John? How did we ever podcast?
Yeah, I mean, the man's influence and impact cannot be underestimated. John Houston, thank you for the super chat, my friend. You are just so consistent and dedicated to our community, and it's not just Huddle Up. It's all the other MHH pods. So we really appreciate you, John. And I think it's about time, my friend, that you reach out to us, milehighhuddle.com, actually milehighhuddle@gmail.com, and give us your personal details. Give us your address and give us your T-shirt size, and allow us to send you out a MHH T-shirt or a Huddle Up Podcast T-shirt as a small thank you for all of your dedicated, steady support. He says, Locke is hopefully coming up next for a mega deal, Zach.
And that's, well, I didn't want to start any, brush fires in Broncos country, but that was the point I was going to make, that in terms of quarterbacks, it's just market value what Dak got. Deshaun made 39, Patrick Mahomes is making 45, Dak is making 40. It's market going rate value for a quarterback of that magnitude. And if or when Locke hits that stratosphere, whether it's a couple years from now or at all, he would get paid the same amount of money as well. Any quarterback that's up for a contract will keep surpassing the previous mark. It's just how contracts work in this business.
Hey, Terrence, appreciate you, my friend. Good to see you. Appreciate that. Yeah, smash the like button, guys. If you're on YouTube and Facebook, smash that like button. Corey H., good to see you, my friend. Appreciate the super. He says, okay, Dak got paid. Great. Show me the math, how one player being 23% of the cap can get you a Super Bowl. I just don't see it. You have to wait for the cap to then go up enough to reduce that percentage. I feel you. I mean, it's not ideal. Like NFL teams, Zach, it's no secret. They like to find that franchise guy early in the draft, have a cost-controlled QB for 5 years, and then try and win a championship in that 5-year window. But how many succeed? Very, very few. Eventually, you got to pay the piper, and that's just the going rate, Zach.
Well, here's the thing, though. If they would have franchise tagged him, that cap number would have been $37.7 million. And I don't know if it's out there yet, but I can report that his number this year is $22.2 million. So that's a $15 million difference. And the thing with doing a long-term deal, you can spread those cap hits out. You can backload the contract. There's things you can do to lessen the cap burden, and that's what they did with Dak. Everyone sees the $40 million, the NFL records. That makes the headlines. But when you break down the contract, Chad, it's actually not a cap killer for Dallas. And I'll say it again, the salary cap is a myth. And this will prove it, like the Mahomes deal and every other deal, and the Saints are proving it this offseason. The salary cap is a myth.
JT, one of our great superstars from across the pond, he's listening after the show because, for him, we're talking wee hours in the morning, but he drops in a super chat. Appreciate you, JT, dropping in to show some love. We'll listen back tomorrow. JT, man, you're an all-timer, dude. You're in the MHH Hall of Fame, Moss Def.
And well-deserved.
Ian, appreciate the kind words. Yep, we got a new Jensen boy coming in June. So, yeah, we'll keep you apprised of that. Appreciate the thoughts and positive vibes, my friend. We got one here, a super sticker. Sorry, we don't have John where we can show the sticker this time around, but Big Kid Rook. Zach, that's a newer name. We don't recognize on Super Chat. So, welcome. Thank you. Connect on Twitter, my friend. We like to keep tabs and stay in contact and keep the conversation going with our superstars on Twitter. And then we also like to be able to shout you out, tag you after each show. So thank you for the support, my friend. It does mean a lot to us. All right, bear with me one sec. I got to see just where we're at. Zach, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna get a couple of things staged here. But let me ask you something. We touched on it so briefly on yesterday's podcast. And it was Tim Patrick who, in an almost kind of by the way comment in a piece totally unrelated to Drew Lock, in a sit down with Mike Kliss, ended up dropping that bomb. He probably didn't even realize what he said, and basically said that Drew Lock has been a totally different person this year. And by this year, I mean the 2021 offseason than he was in the football season just a few months ago. First to show up, last to leave the building, and that all the QB rumors tied to the Broncos this offseason has had some kind of a motivating effect on Drew, and that he thinks it's going to be a galvanizing, and that he thinks it's going to be a big year for Drew Lock. The reason I want to bring this back up and get you talking about it for a second here is that it has been a wildfire, a lightning rod topic in Denver radio today. I mean, they've been talking about what's the implication if Drew, if by being the first to show up and last to leave now is 100% different than what he was last year, maybe some of the rumors about him not fully being fully invested and committed last year are true. What are your thoughts on that subject?
If anything, if the one thing Locke has proven is that he's not Paxton Lynch mentally. He's not soft. He's not weak. His passion for the game is not dependent on money or stats or fame. He loves the game for the game. And I think every one of his teammates has echoed that. I have not heard one negative comment come out about Drew Lock in the 2 seasons he's been with the Broncos. And I understand it's not popular or fashionable to criticize a teammate, but we haven't even heard rumors or unnamed sources or anything like that, Chad. The most we heard was one report that the Broncos dummied down the playbook. And that says more to me about the coaching staff than it does about the quarterback. But I don't think these rumors and the speculation and when, not if, the Broncos do bring in a quarterback, is it going to affect Drew Lock's status or his motivation or his aptitude as the potential franchise guy in Denver. I think it's going to motivate him. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's pointless for me to even talk about because it's up to Drew to go out on the field, Chad, and not listen or not hear or not learn, but go out there and do. And I think given a level playing field, given a good supporting cast, and hopefully more consistent coaching and a winning product, I think he'll be able to show that he can do plenty this season.
Well said, dude. Well said. Jonathan says, hey, Von Miller is staying a Bronco for life. Yeah, that'd be cool to see. That's what we want to see here on this show and at this channel and this website. But he wants us to bring the Mad Fanatic back. We would definitely want to get him back on the show, and we'll probably wait till after some of the big news, at least from free agency passes, and then we'll reach out to him and see if he wants to come back on. But yeah, it was great having him on the show last summer, and We kind of we almost gave I think it was Mundungus a stroke, right, with playing the Drew Lock video with no warning, and also that big beat that the Mad Fanatic put together. He's like, whoa, what the. People weren't quite prepared for that. But, Jonathan, we see you, my friend. We'll get him back on. Don't fret.
It feels like lifetimes ago, doesn't it, Chad? It was only less than a year. Feels like a decade.
Yes. Mohammed, MHH, resident male model in the house. Appreciate the super sticker, bro. We can't show it because we don't have John tonight, but as you know, we love you. Appreciate you, dog. Diamond Rattler, good to see you. Appreciate the love and support.
Thank you.
All right, let me see here. We try, Gary. We try to be on top of every story. In fact, I think one of the things that we do well as a publication, as far as Zach as our written content, is we hit every bucket. Zach and I are chasing the news. All right, that's what we do. Our job is to basically get the breaking news stuff, get it out there. Even if we're not the ones breaking the news, if Mike Kliss breaks something or somebody else, Ian Rappaport, our job is to get that in front of you and then also give you our take on that news. And then we have the great staff here like Nick Kendall, Eric Trickle, Luke Patterson, Lance Sanderson, Carl Dummler, a couple of the new guys. I mean, Bob Morris, our cap guy, he's going to be on Building the Broncos tomorrow night, by the way. Bob is as a guest appearance. Thomas Hall, and then the new guys. I mean, we got, of course, the latest guys from James Campbell, came out of the podcast community. All right, he's published quite a few articles up to this point. Kenneth, Mike Evans. It's a growing thing. And so they bring the analysis, they bring the long form, the deep dive stuff, and Zach and I chase the news. And all those things combined, Zach on top of the video content and the podcast stuff we do, I think we're nothing but net into every bucket that you need to hit.
And our range is pretty far, isn't it? We're like the Steph Curry of Broncos podcasting. And you know what I love, Chad, is writing a story. I'm sure you can attest. Writing a new story, then coming on the podcast to give my analysis. Sometimes like talking it out is better than writing it out. So we get the best of both worlds. And we try to do that for you guys. We call this, and it is the best Broncos coverage and content on the internet. And we try to live up to that reputation every day.
I mean, look, there's some of you out there that might qualify and say, I don't know, to say you're the best. All right, whatever. What we'll say, we believe we're the best. All right. I think the proof is in that pudding. But when it comes to, let's say quality, quantity, we're the most comprehensive publication out there. We cover it all. We hit every single bucket, and none of our great competitors in the sphere can really keep up with us on that front. Tony, DA Dub, love you, brother. Hope
good to see you.
Discount Audio and Wheels, hope it's doing okay in LA. He says, finally catching you guys live again. Hit the like button. Yes, hit the like button. With so many players getting cut soon from all the teams, would you sit back and let teams overpay and take deals at what's left to build what's left to build defense with vets and draft picks? So I think two things there, right? Would you sit back and let teams overpay, and then what's left to build on the defense with vets and draft picks, or am I getting the syntax wrong?
I think he's saying, would you wait and not overpay for anyone and kind of add some cheaper guys to build up the defense and supplement it with draft picks? I think. Let us know, Tony.
So what do you think? I mean, if it comes down to sitting back, I think, we said it before, Zach. I think the primary focus initially for George Payton is getting the hot button studs re-signed. The homegrown guys, Simmons, Vaughn. We'll see what happens with Shelby, but they're going to tender Phillip Lindsay. They're going to tender Tim Patrick. They're going to tender, who am I missing?
AJ.
Yeah, Alexander Johnson. Then we'll see what happens.
This was my strategy either way, though. Regardless of the biblical wave of cuts and the salary cap going down, George Payton was never going to overpay for anyone. And I don't think even his own players, even the Simmons and the Shelby Harrises, he'll probably have a number that he thinks is fair, and he'll try to negotiate around that number. But if you're expecting the Patrick Petersons and the Richard Shermans to come in and those high-priced, big-name free agents, I think you have another thing coming to you. I would not be surprised. In fact, I'm expecting Payton to kind of sit back, like the question posits, sign some mid-tier cornerbacks, some mid-tier defensive help, but use the bulk of the draft and those resources to help build the team.
Don't let me forget, Zach, before we get out of here tonight, I want to feature that article you wrote today about Peter King speculating, Sam Darnold, all that stuff. I want to get to that. Don't let me forget. We got a few supers to get, but I want to touch on that. Christian, appreciate the super chat, my friend. Good to see you. He says, hey, guys, wondering what your dream draft scenario is for the first 3 rounds. And I'm curious who both of your 3 favorite players on the Broncos are. Let's reverse engineer that for a second, Zach. Who are your favorite 3 Broncos currently on the roster?
I'm not going to include Drew Lock just for the sake of, not, and I don't want to crap storm. Cortland Sutton, Philip Lindsay. Who's my third? I want to say Dalton Reisner. I bonded with him at the combine, and he's the perfect, I believed, offensive lineman for the Broncos. I'm going to go with Reisner, Sutton, and Lindsay. Chubb as my alternate mention.
3 names you can't go wrong with there. Lindsay, to me, on an emotional level, to me, I think, when you get into the media game and stuff, like you start, and this is from someone who grew up as a Broncos fan, right? You start kind of distancing. It's just a natural result of writing about this and, creating content. I used to get so worked up over a game, right? I mean, as far back or as recently as like the early Peyton Manning years, the Tim Tebow season, and all the way back to my, youth, dude, I would get so worked up when the Broncos finally kicked off. I would have my adrenaline running, dude. Like I would be hyped up. And if they didn't win, dude, it was a bad week at Casa Jensen. All right, let's just put it that way. But as time has gone on, I've become a lot less up and down with the destiny of the team and more just focused on breaking it all down and analyzing it. But still, if I have an emotional tie to any one player right now, it's Philip Lindsay. That dude is just, to me, he represents everything that is the NFL represents and everything what it means to be a true Denver Broncos. So it was music to my ears, Zach, to hear George Payton say, yeah, we want Philip back, and he's going to be back this year. And then both him, we'll see what happens with Melvin Gordon, but both of them probably going to end up hitting unrestricted free agency at the same time this time next year.
Yeah, and I'm seeing in the comments, so many people are echoing Cortland Sutton. And let me just say, I'm so excited, Chad. This is kind of a non sequitur, but I'm so excited to see Cortland Sutton play again this season. I really missed watching him last year. Just as a football fan, not even someone who covers the Broncos, he is just an animal. He's a beast. And him with a healthy Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler and Noah Fant, this offense, and Philip Lindsay, this offense could be fun to watch. I cannot wait to see Cortland Sutton back.
By the way, to answer Christian's first part, the dream draft scenario for the first 3 rounds, it's probably not going to shake out this way, but to me, it would be something like this. Caleb Farley, round 1. Like a Richie Grant, the safety, all right, round 2. And if he falls to this point, a Dylan Moses, Jabril Cox, probably won't, one of those guys probably won't fall. Even Browning. Luke had that great article today, guys, on the 3 second-round caliber linebackers that would fit right into Fangio's scheme, sideline to sideline coverage, guys. Go read that article after this podcast. But something like that, Zach, where you get a key corner, you get a key safety, because Kareem, long in the tooth, even if you keep him around this year, next year you're going to have a problem if you don't have that successor. And then you get the linebacker you kind of been pining for almost a decade.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned those names because those are the 3 that I had in mind. And I really don't care specifically too much, but I would love Farley at 9. But you have to alternate inside linebacker, maybe an edge guy if Von Miller's gone. You have to get a safety for Kareem Jackson. Maybe Justin Simmons is gone, after this year, after they tag him. You got to start rebuilding the defense. So if they can alternate cornerback, safety, inside linebacker in the first 3 picks, no matter how they do it, I'd be pretty happy.
A newer name that we don't recognize on Super Chat. So Contender View, welcome. Thank you. Sounds like maybe you're a content creator yourself over there on YouTube. Appreciate you being with us. Connect on Twitter. Off topic, but in the last 23 years, the Broncos have had maybe 5 years of good QB play. Let's go get Watson. I don't give a darn what it takes. 23 years, dude. All right, let me do some math here. So we're talking about from the time Elway hung up his cleats, right? 5 years of good QB play, maybe. Nah, dude, I've got to go ahead and pull your card on that one. I'm sorry to say, dude. Peyton Manning was 4 years. All right. So there's 4 out of the 5 that you put there, right? How do you categorize or characterize or qualify Jake Plummer's 3 years in which he led this team to the playoffs all 3 years? His 4th year, he had them on deck to make the playoffs. They were leading the AFC West 3/4 of the way through the season. Mike Shanahan decides, we're going to go ahead and use this moment to go ahead and put in Jay Cutler. So there's 3 years at least. All right. We'll take out Plummer's 4th. So there's 7. All right. Brian Griese had a really good year. The year he made the Pro Bowl, he got banged up, but he had a really good year. Jay Cutler's 2008 season was phenomenal. I mean, already 13 years ago. That was another time and another place, but that was a top 5 season in the league. Jay Cutler. All right. Then and even Tebow, I get it. We're not talking about Tebow being a great quarterback or good QB play when you think of Tim Tebow, but he did something for the team. I would say post Super Bowl 50, you're 100% right, Contender View.
I see Gavin in here. Yeah, I hate to disappoint you, Gavin. I don't have it in me tonight. If he thinks it's worth it to trade the farm for Deshaun Watson or mortgage the future or go against everything George Paton stands for as an executive in the NFL, that's his or their point of view and their opinion. They're entitled to it. I don't think it's not mine. I don't share that. I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's likely. But we will see what happens, Chad, at quarterback for the Broncos this offseason. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a couple of hosts that are just going to parrot what I see is just an easy way out, trendy talking point of, yeah, what wouldn't you give up to get Deshaun Watson here? Wrong podcast, dude. That's just not our view, all right? We share a brain on this. And it's a different animal because you look at Dak and you say the Dallas Cowboys, they had to get that deal done. What wouldn't you pay for a healthy Dak, especially – comparing or juxtaposing that to how things shook out for the team, Zach, in 2020. But you're talking dollars and cents there. In the case of Deshaun, you're talking dollars and cents, and you're talking about mortgaging a draft. And who was it we had on? Was it last night with D-Dub? Someone recently we had on. They said, what if he gets hurt? What if you give up all that capital to get Deshaun? And he's been hurt before, dude. Rookie season, tore his ACL. Then what? That's why you got to be really careful, Zach, about just mortgaging the future.
Oh, but Chad, he has a 10-year guarantee. Don't worry. If you have Deshaun Watson, you're guaranteed to be successful for 10 years because of all the Super Bowls he's won already, Chad. We both should know that. Come on.
I'm going to grab this great super chat from Naj, and then I want this comment here from and question from BNS. Naj, dude, it's so great to see you. We were just talking about you off camera the other day, just about how freaking rad you are.
Yeah.
I mean, we appreciate you, my friend. And
it was last night, in fact.
That's right. And it's only our only regret with you, Naj, is we wish you were on Twitter because we spend a lot of time putting content out on on the MHH Facebook page. But Zach and I, we don't hang out on Facebook. We hang out at milehighhuddle.com and on Twitter a little bit. So create a Twitter account. We'll keep the convo going. He says, hey, brothers, hope all is well. You guys think the Broncos will draft a running back in the earlier part of the draft as a replacement for Melvin Gordon? Or do you see Gordon and Phillip Lindsay back as the co-starters next season?
Good question.
Go ahead, Zach.
Well, it's layered for sure. And in fact, someone sent me their mock draft on Twitter today, and they had Travis Etienne in like the third round or second. I think the second round in a trade back scenario. I don't see the Broncos going running back that early. They'll have Phillip Lindsay on the roster. They have Freeman still on the roster, and it comes down to replacing the workhorse, the RB1 in Melvin Gordon. If he's not convicted next month of the DUI charges, I do think the Broncos will bring him back. They'll have to just stomach the salary. It's his walk year. If he's convicted, though, I mean, in today's landscape of the NFL, DUI, speeding, what happened with the Chiefs, I tend to think the optics and the PR would kind of force Peyton to void his guarantees and look in another direction. But nowadays, you can find a starter or a star running back, Chad, in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth round. You don't have to spend a top, first or second round draft pick on the guy. My answer to this question is it's going to be a bigger priority, obviously, if Melvin Gordon goes away, but not so much that they would pass up on a cornerback or a safety or an inside linebacker. It's not that big of a need compared to something like corner where they literally don't have any guys, Chad.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you on that. You look back, though, at what Peyton did as, his role in what the Vikings have done over, 13 years he was there with Spielman, or maybe it was 13 combined years that he's worked as the number 2 to Spielman. I can't recall. But nevertheless, long time he spent in Minnesota. They did use a first-round pick on a running back not too long ago in Dalvin Cook, and it didn't pay immediate dividends because he got hurt and all that. But last year, it sure took some pressure off of the obviously overextended and over his head Kirk Cousins. So would it completely stun me to see the Denver Broncos draft a running back in rounds 1 or 2? Yes, just because of the other needs. Would it completely stun me to see them draft a running back, in a premium round like the third this year? No, if the right guy was there, because you do need to have a fail-safe in the event that you could lose both your co-starters, Zach, at the end of after this season.
If they draft a running back in round 1, I'm covering the Jaguars. I mean, there's literally no need for it. So miss me with that.
All right, BNS, good to see you, bro. He says, Priest, for years, Tom Brady took middle-of-the-road quarterback money because he wanted to win. What gives fans the idea that paying one player like a Watson will do anything but mire our team in mediocrity? Hashtag all pro Bulls. Got to get that barb in every time, the Bulls News Network. Love you, bro. It's a good question. I think it's rhetorical. The answer's there. If we were talking about a scenario, Zach, where, because we saw the tumultuous situation the Texans found themselves in last year, having to fire Bill O'Brien on the heels of that just ugly, stupid trade where they dished away DeAndre Hopkins and all that. And you saw them do this. If somehow Deshaun Watson managed to navigate that, Zach, in a way that kept the Texans, because, like, think about it. If you put Peyton Manning, so let's see, 17, 18, 19, 20, right? So this was his 4th season. So if you put Peyton Manning circa 02 or 01, what was it? 98, 99, 2000, so circa 01 on that team, the Houston Texans last year, do they finish 4-12?
No. They finished 12-4 probably. You flipped that record.
That's why I'm not having it, dude. I mean, and then people right now, there's some of them anyway, are screaming at their phones going, how can you compare Deshaun Watson to a Hall of Famer like Peyton Manning? Well, you're directly comparing him to Peyton Manning if you think you should give up 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks to get him here. Because that's the caliber of player you got to be getting if you're even going to countenance the idea of giving up that much capital. So if he had put up a 12-4 season in the face of that adversity, and then he comes in to the offseason and the Texans lie to him about his involvement in the GM search and lie to him about being involved in picking the head coach, and he says, to hell with you, I want out, and he tries to force a trade, I would maybe listen a little bit closer to the calls for whatever it takes to land Watson in Denver. But he didn't, dude. He didn't. He had a solid statistical season, Zach, but it didn't come out in the wash as far as the standings.
It's so funny because people think Dak's not worth the money, but he's only making $1 million more per year, and they have as many playoff wins, won. So another comparison is, Peyton Manning, the Broncos went all out for him. Chad brought it up, a few minutes ago. All you had to do was cut the check. That's why, I want Locke to start this year, but if Dak was going to be available, he was the only quarterback I was willing to break the bank on, because you don't have to sacrifice your draft picks, which may as well be literal gold bullion to George Payton, Chad. He values it that much. So why would he go against his natural inclinations and the way he operates and what he's told you he's going to do to flip all of that around for a quarterback that's 1-2 all time, that led the league in passing last year but finished 4-12? And any Broncos fan that's equivalating Deshaun Watson and Peyton Manning, is there people out there that literally genuinely see Deshaun Watson and Peyton on the same level? They're not. Deshaun Watson's a great quarterback. Peyton Manning is a transformative quarterback. He's a generational quarterback. That's why he was a first ballot Hall of Famer who took, 5 seconds for his presentation into Canton, Chad? Deshaun Watson's not even close to that yet. But it's like you said, the popular thing right now. It's the sheep, and it's the narrative that, big Broncos country Twitter, big tech, in other words, is feeding and spoon-feeding the masses to accept. I don't accept it. You don't accept it. And like you said, we're going to be the one Broncos podcast or show or analysts that don't just go with the flow. We don't think it's likely, and we're sticking to that.
And look, I get it. Like, there are a couple things that that era of Manning and this current situation with Watson have in common. Like, for example, by the time Peyton Manning got to his 4th year, like Watson did, he had a couple of double-digit win seasons under his belt as a starter, and so does Watson. I mean, Watson won 10 games in 19, won the AFC South. I think they won even one more than that, Zach, the year prior in 2018. Lost in the playoffs, still haven't won a playoff game. Peyton Manning, I'll look it up right now.
2019 was the year that Luck retired, so that the division was a layup for Houston. Not taking anything away, but that's right. That's the fact.
So real quick though, just for gigs, Peyton, year one as a starter, rookie 98, 3-13. Year two, 13-3. Year 3, 10-6. 2001, which was equal to what Watson's coming off of. He did have a down year, for what it's worth, 6-10. Then from there, he never had a sub 500 year again, ever. So who knows? Maybe he's that unicorn. Maybe Watson is the Peyton Manning unicorn. I'm just not convinced of it enough to say, go ahead and hedge that, take that, make that bet.
I will eat a paper unicorn on camera live if he ever comes close to reaching Peyton Manning status. He's far, far away from it.
John in the house again. Thanks, brother. He says, honestly, the more I think Tyrod Taylor would be a good backup. Also, how do you feel about Matt Milano at inside linebacker? Played some safety in college, good in coverage. I wouldn't hate on the idea, but if you're going to spend, I'd rather go to the draft and find that guy that you can lock down for the next 4 to 10 years than going and paying a guy like Milano, who's been a Band-Aid guy. He's flashed a few times,
right,
but nothing you can really hang your hat on, and he's going to probably command some serious coin.
Yeah, he popped a little bit last season, but he was pretty much a no-name player before that, and he's going to get at least 5 or 6 on the open market, and I don't see the Broncos ponying up that money for any veteran inside linebacker not named Levante David. Vic Fangio historically, Chad, always went to the draft. That's what I think him and Peyton will do again this year.
All right, we got one from BNS on just a super. Thanks for the great content. # All Pro Bulls. Appreciate you, bro. Gavin, also, what's up, guys? Hey, thanks for the super chat. By the way, very interesting YouTube profile pic that you're rolling with there, my dog, with Smoking Drew Lock. All right, here's one from Drew Love, one of our great supporters on Facebook. He says, hey, guys, what linebacker would you rather have here? Jabril Cox, Baron Browning. So Cox is the LSU guy, Browning, Ohio State. Zaven Collins, Temple, if I'm not mistaken, or Micah Parsons, Penn State. What's your answer?
What about JOK? Is he among the options here? I mean, I know he's not listed there, but among the options, I'm taking Micah Parsons. I think he's the best day one, highest floor linebacker, but Cox would be my second choice. But you pass up on a top 10 talent like Micah Parsons, I think you might live to rue that, Chad, if his red flags clear up before the draft, like I think they will.
And that reminds me, guys, go read that article. If John was here, he'd be pasting the link by now anyway in the chat. But when you get off this stream, go read Luke Patterson's article breaking down in it, Cox, Browning, and then one other one, which was Dylan Moses that you didn't mention there, Drew. So appreciate you, dog. Mark Langley in the house. Mark, we got to get you back on the show, dude. When can you come on? Let's get it booked. Let's get it scheduled. I know you got a pretty hectic schedule as far as your work week and the way it goes. So we can flex, we can work around it and figure it out. But we need to get you back on the show, my dog. He says, what's up, my guys? # Huddle Up Pod, # Football Priest. Zach, Mark Langley is as consistent as the day is long.
Yeah, he's an OG for sure. And yeah, we got to see you back on the show, Mark. So let us know when we can make that happen.
Diamond Rattler, thank you for that super chat. Much love to you. By the way, send us an email. We'll get you a t-shirt, milehighhuddle@gmail.com. We need your address. We need your shirt size. Dale Rude in the house, or Rudd, I forget now. Dang it. I know we got the answer to this. Anyway, I usually don't forget that stuff once I know it. But Dale, appreciate you, dog. Does Zach title his articles? Yeah, we both title our articles. Yeah.
Next question.
Diamond Rattler, very generous super chat.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Reach out. Let's get you a t-shirt. It means a lot to us. Seriously. All right, where we're at. We're at 54 minutes, just about. Let's grab Josh, one of our very outgoing supporters and followers on Facebook. He says, good evening, Broncos country. Lots of franchise tags added today, huh? Or tenders or whatever you call them. Yeah, dude. I mean, the deadline approaches. NFL teams, they don't usually move until, it's all governed by deadlines, and they're butting up against it. They want to have those things, those I's dotted, those T's crossed, Zach, because they got to be in a position to have clarity when the legal tampering period opens March 15th, because you get the 15th and the 16th, and then it's wide open. You can actually start signing on the 17th.
And then by the 17th, it's over with. Every player has a new team, and all that fun is evaporated.
We got one here from Jonathan again. Thank you, Jonathan. This is a super chat. Appreciate you, bro. Hey, connect with us on Twitter. We'd like to be able to shout you out after the show. He says the Denver Broncos need to sign me this year, a running back, inside linebacker. Look, dude, I mean, you look yoked enough in that profile pic. Maybe they ought to, man.
I'm getting George Payton on the horn right now, calling. I'll let you know, Jonathan.
Jonathan, if you're semi-pro or aspirations for pro, send us some cut-ups, dude. We'll take a look. Maybe we can give you some love or something, put you in the community, or, if you have any cut-ups on YouTube, send it over to us, man. We're happy to take a look and see if we can't help you out. Here's a question from Michaela. Is Courtland Sutton that much better than Tim Patrick? In my opinion, Zach, as you know, we kind of differ on this a little bit on Patrick, but my answer to that is a resounding yes, quite a bit more. Courtland Sutton has shades of a future Hall of Fame guy named Megatron. Patrick, solid guy. Like, to me, he's like a poor man's Allen Robinson to me, Tim Patrick. And I think he could get to that level. Like, in the right situation, he could be like a Pro Bowl alternate caliber, gets lucky a couple of times in his career to make it to the Pro Bowl because he didn't quite get enough votes, but one or two wide receivers dipped out, so he ends up in the Pro Bowl. In the right situation, he can put up that kind of volume and get there. But as far as being that dynamic, let's just say like a franchise number one wide receiver, I don't think he comes close to Sutton. Maybe that's the wrong word. Not comes close. He's not on the same level as Sutton.
I agree with you. Obviously, the comp for Courtland Sutton is Megatron. There's flashes to him, but I think the better way to put it is Tim Patrick has shades of Courtland Sutton, and he's like Courtland Sutton light. And Chad, I don't know what I have to do more to get you on the Tim Patrick bandwagon. I corrupted you with Shelby Harris. Tim Patrick would start on about half of the league right now. He really is a high upside receiver in that he's connected. I used to have a tweet about it about a year ago. Every quarterback he's played with last couple seasons, and there's been plenty in Denver, he has a big play or a big game or a big touchdown on his resume. The guy is just incredible in my opinion. He's clutch. He's reliable. He runs good routes. He's good for his quarterbacks. I'm a big Tim Patrick fan. TP all the way.
Yeah, I like him, and also, he went to my alma mater, so I'm all about him. I just, I got to keep it on the real with you guys the way I see it. Real quick here. Oh, no, we're on pace. Okay, cool. I just looked on the back end. We only got a couple more minutes to go, and we got to dip because one of Zach's 2 NFL jobs, one covering the Broncos for MHH and another for Heavy covering the Dallas Cowboys. With all that Dak stuff breaking, he's got some work to get to on that side of things. So we got to keep it relatively tight tonight. Tyler, appreciate you, my friend. Connect on Twitter, and if we're already connected, go like this in our mentions and let us know, because the handles are often different. Whatever you go by on YouTube, the handles are often different on Twitter. And so we need you to do this so that we can make sure we're connected with the right person. So thank you. 3 things are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Kelberman getting sassy whenever the Deshaun Watson trade gets brought up.
It's just we've touched on it so many times now, and on Twitter and written and KK and the podcast. It's just, I'll keep going though. I love providing the content for you guys.
Chris P, thank you for the super sticker, my friend. If John was here, we would flash whatever that emoji is on the sticker. But appreciate you, man. Thank you. Connect on Twitter. Let me see here. 701. Well, you're not going to get, dude, love you. Trevor Lawrence is not on the table for any team besides Jacksonville. Jacksonville, that'd be like the Colts trading out from pick 1 with Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning. Like, it's not going to happen, dude. It's not going to happen. Maybe your argument, Zach, maybe his argument is, Zach Wilson at BYU. That's a little bit more feasible because at least, it's fungible. You could actually, get on the phone and try and wheel and deal and get up to 2, but Trevor Lawrence off the table.
Here's my hot take. Zach Wilson will have a better NFL career than Trevor Lawrence. We'll check back in 3 or 4 years to see who was right.
We'll see if that particular hot take holds water 4 years from now.
It might not.
We'll see. We'll see. Tony, we're not feeling we don't know where the Gardner Minshew thing comes from. Like, what makes people think Gardner Minshew would be a good idea? Like, what about him do you think works in the NFL?
His mustache.
Hey, that might help him when he goes out to the court.
That's it.
Right? But
His
listen,
only
dude,
redeeming quality. What else does he bring to the table? What else has he accomplished? I don't understand. The Gardner Minshew fan club and the Brett Rippon fan club. I don't understand where they replicate.
All right. Bronco #1 fan says, and thanks for being with us, my brother. He says, Kelberman, what are your thoughts of Alex Smith coming to town, considering our wide receiver core, tight end, a future dominant O-line, and a so-so running back core compared to Washington's roster? And I think that's an interesting way, by the way, Zach, to posture it. Because as I said, I think it was last week, one of the things I like about the possibility of getting an Alex Smith here in Denver is that you saw, now look, he's been through a lot. He might not be the same guy, but when he was in Kansas City, he had that elite supporting cast. And it wasn't Star Wars numbers, but it was pretty close, minus, maybe, it was pretty close, dude. Those guys all ate. They got their yards, they got their touchdowns, they got their stats. He was a great distributor of the ball to the playmakers. He can move. He might not put up the Star Wars points, right? But he's going to move the chains for you on third down. That he'll do. Then you get inside the red zone, and that's where, in my opinion, his a little too his conservative penchant for protecting the ball ends up kind of backfiring on him a little bit, and you end up settling for too many field goals. But the supporting cast, in my opinion, like if Drew Lock fell on his face in the first quarter of the season, the Broncos said, all right, we got to pull him, and you put Alex Smith in, there is not a doubt in my mind, health willing, and that's a big caveat, health willing, there really isn't a doubt in my mind that he could make some hay with this supporting cast.
If he wants to come here and be a backup, a strict number 2 to start out, fine. I'm willing to pay him, $5 or $6 million. But, like you just said, Chad, I don't want a quarterback, that we're going to have to settle for field goals with. I'd rather take a chance on the young guy that can maybe put up a touchdown, maybe score some points. We know what Alex Smith is, and great comeback story, great guy, wish him all the best, but we don't know what Drew Lock is yet. And I'd rather take the chance on the unknown than the known. In this case, the devil that we don't know yet is more attractive than the devil we do know. Again, great comeback, great number 2 to have on the roster, great, morale guy, team kind of guy, but every time he'd scramble, I'd hold my breath that his leg is going to snap off his body again.
For sure. Dale's clarifying, by the way, when he asked about the titles, does Zach do his own titles? Because he's an ace at it. Yeah, dude, one of Kelberman's most redeeming next-level qualities as a NFL media guy, headlines, dude. Zach, how many times in a given month you get a text or a phone call from me? I'm about to publish something for me or one of the other guys, and I say, hey, dude, here's the story. What's the headline? And you go, bada bang. And it's always money, and it's always good. There's an art to crafting the right headline because, in the media business, you could just, like we see a lot of people do this, a lot of competitors, a lot of people in the landscape, they tell the whole story in the headline. So why does Dale want to click on that when he just got everything he needs to know in the headline? What the perfect balance is, you tell people what's going on in the headline, and you want them excited, incentivized to read the article, because we don't get anything out of writing the article if you don't read it. If all you do is see it as you're thumbing through Facebook while you're sitting on the john during your break at work or whatever, or at the gym as you're doing your mile and you got it up, if all you do is see a headline that tells you everything you need to know and then you scroll down through the rest of your news feed and move on, that did nothing for us. So there's an art to it, and Kelberman is seriously like master level.
Appreciate that. And you know what, Chad? We got to be doing something right, you and I and everyone else, because, again, over 2 million Broncos fans read MHH last month. And, Dale, we appreciate it. Everyone else out there, we appreciate it. And we can promise you we'll keep delivering that Broncos content straight to your homes.
Straight from the tap. And, by the way, duly noted, Dale, rude. Got you. Dennis Woods, another ace superstar. Good to see you, bro. He says, appreciate you guys. The content is always great.
Appreciate you, Dale.
Much obliged. Hit us up if you want to come on the show. We've mentioned it a couple of times, Dennis. We can set it up. It's not as daunting as it might seem. Trust me on that.
Did I say Dale? Meant to say Dennis.
Appreciate we had Dale and Dennis in succession, yeah. So it's going to happen. It's like my mother, growing up, she'd call me. She'd go through all the kids' names in the household before she'd get to my name in terms of I took the cookie from the cookie jar, and she goes to my brother, Robert, Jared, Chad, whatever, and you're like, it's like that sometimes where it's just
poor
a word
woman.
salad. She loved me though. I knew she loved me, and that's how you know the same thing, Dennis. We love you, Doc. All I think we're caught up, Zach. Let me just double check here. Oh, Jake, good to see you, brother. He says, appreciate the super chat, by the way, bro. He says, hey, guys, is it just me or next year is a win-win for us? If Drew pops, we got our QB, but if he doesn't, we get a new QB and a new coaching staff. 10,000 subs soon. That's true, guys. We're almost at 10K on YouTube. So tell your friends, tell your family. That's why we need you sharing this content out there. Help us get to where we need to be. But yeah, we got some fun plans for y'all. Trust when we hit 10K, when we cross that barrier. So appreciate you. But yeah, dude, that would be look, it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe you call it that. Because if Drew fails, it probably means Fangio failed, and then you got to start over.
And it is a win-win because we all want to see the Broncos do well, but if they don't, realistically, it's time for a redo over the coaching staff. This is Fangio's last stand here as Broncos head coach. He cannot afford a non-playoff season or a non-winning season. He has to make do with the talent he has, the quarterback that he has, and if he doesn't, and if Locke fails, we'll be the first ones to admit it. New coaching staff, new quarterback, a complete and full house cleaning like arguably they should have undertaken in 2017.
All right, sorry for that weird visual you might have seen there, guys. I'm trying to do a quick shout out to our Facebookers who give us the stars on Facebook. Let me see if it works better this time. Yeah, there we go. All right, let me see here. We gotta see shout out our supporters, our top fans over there. There's Ian, bona fide superstar and supporter over there on Facebook. Let me see who else we got here. Drew, of course, Drew Love. We got one from Drew today. Bear with me one second. We got to give there's Gary with 100 stars. He's rolling on a 6-week streak, dude.
Thank you, Gary.
Love you, Gary. Hey, we're liking that right there. Boom. Done deal. Let me see. Got to keep going just in case. Oh, we got Randy. Love it, dude. It's 3-week streak. He says, need toddler sizes in the store. Dude, we do. Oh, toddler. Yeah, we do need to get some toddler. We have some infant stuff. We do have a onesie at the merch store at huddleuppod.com. That's our merch store. Alonzo, thank you for the stars, dude. Really means a lot to us. Appreciate you. There's Ian's stars. 4-week streak that Ian's on. Really appreciate you, dog. Look at it. 1, 2, 3 different star comments. Appreciate you, Ian. See, all this stuff, guys, we like to shout everyone out because this is the type of support from the superstars to the stars to the supporters. It's what allows us to keep doing this content, Zach, on a day in, day out basis.
Yeah, I mean, I say it, Chad and I say it on every show, everything we do, every platform. We do this for you guys. We give back to you because you allow us. You read our articles, you peruse the podcast, you check out every video we do, and we talk about it all the time, on camera, off camera. We're so appreciative for the audience that we're building, and that's why we're motivated every day and inspired to bring you more and more and better and better.
Brad Murdoch, good to see you, brother. Another great supporter and gives us stars and props on Facebook. Albert Knoppers, another one of our great supporters.
OG Albert.
Definitely an OG. But guys, that's got to do it for tonight's episode. Oh wait, I think
we have a few more.
Okay, yeah. Let me see. Oh, okay. Here we go. We got to blast through these really fast. Daniel, thank you for the super. Connect on Twitter. Any hope of bringing in Cam Newton or perhaps a Jameis Winston to have a straight up open competition in training camp?
I would kill myself if Cam Newton was competing with Drew Lock to be the Broncos starting quarterback. I would hate him even as a backup. Cam Newton is done, and I think Jameis stays in New Orleans where he's the favorite right now to start replacing a likely retired Drew Brees. Not official yet.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it might sound like heresy, but I would prefer Jameis over Cam if you're going to choose one of those two former number 1 overall picks, just because I think he's got some arm talent still in the tank. Cam, he's shot, dude, as a passer. Those shoulder injuries that take their toll. Jeremy, good to see you, brother, a.k.a. Black Knight 232. He says, I want to thank Vance Joseph for bringing me to a great Broncos community.
He did do something right.
If Zach drops to the 9th, the Broncos need to grab him. Talking about Zach Wilson, the BYU quarterback. If he drops to the 9th pick, are you taking Zach Wilson there, Zach?
You know what? I am. The guy is arguably the best quarterback in this draft class. If anything, you give yourself a surefire long-term replacement if Drew Lock bombs this year. But if you take Zach Wilson, number 9 overall, let's be realistic. Drew Lock ain't starting. There's a handful or less than a handful. I can count on half my hands are half my hand of available quarterbacks this offseason, Deshaun Watson included, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, now no more, that I would take over Drew Lock. Zach Wilson is one of those guys. So, yes, I would.
Remember that. Zach said this on March 8th. He's not going to be there, though, guys. Don't get your hopes up. He's not going to be there. Because, and even if he was there, I'll tell you what, Vic Fangio needs to win now. Doesn't have a choice. He's got to win now. You don't win with rookie quarterbacks. Like, there's an exception that proves the rule, but they're very few and far between. So Vic Fangio knows that a corner there or a linebacker or anything but quarterback that fills an immediate hole can impact now. Quarterbacks take time to marinate, dude. Just ask the LA Chargers last year, right? Diamond Rattler with one last goodbye super chat. Thank you. Appreciate you. Reach out, send us that email. Hope you have a good night as well. But guys, that's got to do it for today's episode of the Huddle Up podcast. We missed John. You know, we hate it when John's not with us. But guys, sometimes, I mean, this is a 7 days a week podcast. Some of our great competitors out there in the Broncos sphere, you know, they'll podcast 2, 3, 4 times if it's the season in a week. We go every single day, and John's there every single night. So every once in a while, he needs a little time off. There's some things that, you know, happen, family parties, birthdays, things like that. He needs to be able to take that time. And so, you know, we allow him, of course, and want him to do that. So, all right, guys, before we get out of here, follow the podcast page on Facebook, facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. I'm going to put the link right now in the chat so you don't even have to try and search it. You just click this link in the chat. Boom, you're there. Like and follow because we announced this week's winner of the shirt giveaway. Whoever's liking and following automatically entered into those giveaways. So take care of that. Follow us on Twitter at HuddleUpPod and at Mile High Huddle. My partner, Zack Kelberman, at Kelberman NFL. Myself, at Chad and Jensen. Check out the old merch store, huddleuppod.com. Get your swag on if you get a second. Seriously consider becoming a supporter. Kelberman's Corner, episode 10 on Facebook. Sunday at noon Mountain Time. And then we're debuting the Trickle Zone Saturday, noon Mountain Time. And if you're not a supporter, you're not going to get access to that content. It's $5 a month. Go check it out if you're in a position to do that. And then otherwise, guys, please subscribe and like this video before you dip out. That's key. Number 2, just like the video. Helps us out. And share it out there if we did a good job. And other than that, Zach, we'll circle back Wednesday. We'll announce the winner of the podcast page giveaway, and we'll see what news comes our way between now and then.
That's right. And you said Bob Morris on BTB tomorrow night. We're off tomorrow, so that should be anyone, you know, interested in the salary cap. Bob kills. That's his expertise, and he does a great job there. So be sure to check that out. We will see you guys, though, Wednesday evening, 6 o'clock Mountain, 8 o'clock Eastern. More Broncos news, more Broncos pod. Take care, and as always, go Broncos.